Cascada Cafeteiro in Popayan, Colombia. With these videos, I'm doing what I can for the evolution of human consciousness, and I would appreciate your help to disseminate this important information. Please subscribe to receive the latest videos. Thank you. Even before the coronavirus, the mainstream media have been announcing that food supply chain was about to break. There's over 30 million Americans out of their jobs, and this is just the beginning. Over 60 food processing facilities in the United States are facing closures. The government continues to sustain a state of economic emergency and wants to make people believe that it is still the only option to keep everyone safe. David Devine wrote in his newsletter in December 2019, "As I have said from the beginning of my channel Adopt 2030, the global economy will be purposely imploded 1 year before global food shocks sweep the planet. The reason will be to prevent billions of people from moving at the same time to warmer and more stable crop-growing regions. My forecast still stands. The global awareness of the grand solar minimum and its effects on society will rise from 1% at the end of 2019 to 12% at the end of 2020 and 60% by the end of 2021. It looks as if we are 1 year out from food insecurity, where the perception of stability has a higher value than cash itself. Right now, you still have the opportunity to become more self-sufficient before the next set of lockdowns, which are coming in November 2020. Here and in my future videos, I will share part of my transition adventure, which I started living in 2015. Our souls guided us to Colombia. Our ego mind never considered Colombia as a travel destination, much less a place to live for the rest of our lives. However, our souls had other plans. We were convinced that we would live in Ibarra, Ecuador, but our visa ran out, and it was easier to travel to Colombia and stay for 3 months on a tourist visa and then go back to Ecuador and accomplish the final visa requirements. We had purchased 15 acres of beautiful land property overlooking the city of Ibarra and the Ibarra Lake. We were going to build a house, maximizing this beautiful view, and develop the land by growing our own food and selling the extra. Before Ecuador, we lived in what was supposed to be our retirement property in Costa Rica. We purchased the land and built the houses starting in 2003. This was going to be our retirement paradise. We even built a duplex so that each of our children could have their private place for their families. The property was beautiful, with an amazing view, but the heat during the 6 months of dry season was unbearable, and we had no land to grow our food. This property was part of a beautiful dream, but the reality was very different from the dream. We had a very hard time selling this amazingly beautiful property, but we were determined to sell. We were lowering the price every 3 months, and finally, when the asking price was at 60% of what we spent to build the property, we got an offer of 50% after 15 months of trying to sell. We accepted this offer because our neighbor had been trying to sell his property for 7 years at that time, and it was obvious to us that what the owner believes the property is worth and what a buyer is ready to pay are two very different things. 2 weeks before closing, we had a major landslide. Even though we built a retaining wall all along the back of the house, and for 13 years we had no problems, right before closing the deal, this landslide occurred. The buyer wanted a reduction of another $20,000, and I convinced my husband to agree because it was clear to me that it was time to move on. To this day, 10 years later, our neighbor has not sold his property. I write this because I'm certain that because of coronavirus, it will become harder and harder to sell your property. Please do not assume that things will get better in the future and make the same mistake my neighbor did. Please go into action now and make the choice between listening to your ego mind and the external authorities, or listen to your soul, the internal authority. The coronavirus pandemic is a psychological force that is being used to enslave humanity completely at every possible level through technocracy. Will you choose not to participate or simply acquiesce to total slavery? There is no government solution. We must first remember who we are and then understand what we're doing here on Earth, specifically right now. Please hit the like button. Share this information and join us in this adventure. I wish to be part of creating self-sustainable small communities. I was blessed with time and created this new life outside of the totalitarian control system. I do not have answers for what you need to do, but I wish to share in whatever way I can. If you have any suggestions, please contact me. My contact information is below. Assistance with farmland purchases in Colombia and Ecuador. Agricultural land is a wise investment and still very economical in these countries. Long-term stay at Colombian farm, 120 USD per week, 420 USD per month. Spanish lessons. Truth Consciousness Workshop at Cascada Retiro in English, Spanish, and French. Dental treatment of high quality and up to 75% savings in Colombia, and migraine treatment with NTI dental appliance. Infinite love.